Morning on this absolutely beautiful Monday morning. I'm so excited for the day. I can't tell you how much, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. But just to get the secret out there right away, the market is absolutely flying, and we had one of the great weeks last week. If you go back over the last 2 weeks, how interesting has this really truly been? So, 2 weeks ago, you finished out October in a really difficult week, the toughest week of the year, going all the way back at least to March. Then we get into last week, and the market just starts rocketing to the upside into the election, past the election. The election, obviously, up for grabs, and now has been appointed that Vice President Biden will be actually taking over the presidency, although there's still a lot going on. So you just never know. We really do not ever know. And there's a lot still going on there. But all that being said, explosive move last week. As a matter of fact, the volatility index went from 37 all the way down to 25 by the end of the week. Gives you a little idea how the air had come out of the balloon and allowed the balloon actually to rise, not fall. So the air came out of the balloon of the volatility. Certainly, a lot of the nervousness and all the confusion and all of the cloudiness started to move away, and a lot of focus started coming right back into the markets, and an absolute rocket ship to the upside. How much of a rocket ship? Well, take a look at the Dow. It was up nearly 2,000 points. NASDAQ up nearly 900 points. Just an absolutely wild week all the way around. You had names like Biogen, which is a monster biotech stock that had news about its Alzheimer's drug, and very positive, at least early on. And that stock rocketing to the upside. That stock was up 40% last week. Today, giving back a pretty big chunk of that, as a matter of fact. So I'll address that part of it in a second. But an absolutely unbelievable move to the upside there. And just the markets themselves, and just how much they've been shifting and moving and driving higher and higher. Boy, the volumes were absolutely extraordinary last week. You talked about how the volumes were coming back. Well, we finished with an absolute bang on Friday. As a matter of fact, Friday really wasn't the biggest day of the week by any stretch. As a matter of fact, a little bit of a pullback, got hit a little bit, but not much. But the absolute explosive move in the volumes continues to be a storyline right now. 34 plus million contracts again on Friday. Just an explosive move to the upside. Thursday, we had 34 million contracts as well. Gives you a little idea how active and how exciting things were. By the way, this is the take for Market Rebellion. I am Pete Najarian. Sorry, I always like to start that off. I was just so excited for the day, and I am truly excited. I'm excited also that we are going to very soon be going live. And going back and forth with the guys, it seems like most of the people that have responded have said, hey, how about the first hour? So in other words, about 9:30 Central Time, 10:30 East Coast Time, that's when a lot of people would say, hey, look, in that first hour, that's when I want to see this go live. That sounds great. I love doing it even a little bit earlier. Right now, I'm 32 minutes into the day. There is so much to cover, I can't even tell you. It's absolutely incredible. So last week, tech exploded to the upside. You take a look and you look at where the XLK was trading around 112. It actually got all the way up to 121, approaching the highs, not quite getting to the highs. You know what did explode through new highs? Semiconductors, once again, those chips. 177 all the way up to 197 in a week. That's a monstrous move for an index. And take a look at what some of the names were that were powering that up there. AMD, NVIDIA, Skyworks, Micron, Applied Materials, KLAC 10 Core, Lam Research, throw in Xilinx, throw in Marvell, which has been on fire. Stock has been moving to the upside. We've had a lot of option activity in there. That was one of the unusuals just this past week. Absolutely explosive move to the upside. Healthcare, new 52-week highs, or near 52-week highs, I should say, as well. United Health, you had Merck, you had Medtronic, you had J&J, you had Bristol Myers, you had Pfizer, Cigna, Humana, Anthem, all moving to the upside. We had that great move out of CVS, as a matter of fact. They had that deal a while back with Aetna. Biotech also had a very, very strong week, especially when you add in, of course, what was going on with Biogen. So all of that leads into we get into the end of the week. We still hadn't had any announcements, but on Saturday we did have the announcements about the vice president being called as the winner for the presidency. So that seemed to be a little something, gave markets a little bit of a spark. You know what gave markets an absolute incredible spark? And we've been talking about this for a while. It's why we talk about stimulus, buying time for something. We aren't there yet, but we're daggone close. And we take a look. Everybody's talking about J&J. I'll tell you what, Pfizer, an explosive move to the upside today. Absolutely incredible. We've had all that call activity in this name. Love that name. I've owned the stock for a really long period of time. I'm so excited. Own calls as well. And we've been talking about this on the Market Rebellion site for a while now. All the different names that have been seeing some of that activity. Pfizer, certainly one of those names that's been going and going and going and being a repeat hit on the unusual option activity. No doubt about that. Talking about 90% effective. Boy, some of these numbers, they really do sound promising. Well, what did that do to the markets? We're up about 1,300 points right now. We were up 1,700 points in the pre-market, 1,500 points early on. We drifted down. We were down 1,100. We were up still 1,100 points, but we had come back down from 1,700 to 1,100. Monster move no matter how you slice that. But a lot of that move really is right there in those Dow stocks. S&P pretty strong as well. It was about 150 plus points in the pre-market, 130 points since that time, up 122 points right now. NASDAQ, that's the one that's really interesting. It was up about 100 points in the pre-market, about 130 points once we got open. Now it's starting to move a little bit. It's up about 170 points. That's 1.5%, call it. Meanwhile, the Dow up almost 5% right now. It's trading up about 4.7%. So a really strong move to the upside there. Volatility, we talked about that, 37 to 25. Well, no longer even near 25. We're now underneath 24. We're down about another 5% now on the volatility index. So that's been getting hit and hit and hit. We talked about that volume. We've got volume already. Unusual option activity. 35 minutes into the day, I can't tell you the number of unusuals that are already on the board. I think last I looked at maybe 6 or 7, and that's in the first 30 minutes or so of the day. Unbelievable. So that's been something strong. So what is really moving right now? Well, take a look at some of these industrials, Boeing being one of those. Boeing early on up 21 points right out of the gates. Airlines, hospitality, restaurants, all of those moving to the upside. Look at those cruise lines as well. We talk about those all the time. We've had so much activity in the symbol JETS, which is airlines. Unbelievable. I mean, the number of times we've had unusual, positive, bullish activity in JETS over the last week or 2 weeks or so has really been pretty extraordinary. Boy, is that paying off today. United up 22%, American up about 16%. Take a look. I talked about some of the other areas, hospitality. How about hotels? Marriott up about 21%. These are huge companies, folks, that are moving in a big way to the upside. Throw in Royal Caribbean up 30%. I got Carnival up 40%. I got Wynn on the gambling side, that up about 30%. So you get the idea. A lot of those names that might start to be able to see a little bit of that crack of the door and a little bit more of the window opening up in terms of people getting out and maybe starting to get more into the airlines, obviously, and the rest, and getting out and about. So that's something that really does stand out. So VIX, like I say, down significantly today. Energy up significantly today. I looked over at the energy index, the XLE, that was up 14% early on. You know what else is up 14%? Chevron. When you have a name like Chevron, the biggest and baddest in the oil patch, wow, 14% move is really pretty extraordinary move to the upside. Financials off the charts. What's the big leader in the Dow right now? American Express. What is the least expensive on a PE basis of those names? Visa, MasterCards, American Express. American Express. And American Express, obviously, because of the fact that they are sort of that travel-connected sort of name when it comes to credit cards, that's something also that's definitely playing into this right now. JP Morgan, Visa, Fiserv is a financial tech stock that's really, really interesting. I got Capital One up 15% today. So when you look across at these financials, really having an incredible day. US Bank as well, up about 12%. So it's the big banks, it's the smaller banks, it's everything right now. Capital One, obviously more on the credit card side of things, but also a bank as well. So we're just seeing an amazing move there. The industrials definitely participating as well. That's pushing the Dow. When you look at Dow, Cat, Boeing, throw in Honeywell, you got a really nice cocktail of moves for the industrial space right now. Healthcare, J&J, Pfizer, United Health, Throw in an Amgen as well, which is obviously in the Dow for those who don't really fully follow all the stocks that have been replaced and put into the Dow. Amgen's one of those names that most recently was put into the Dow. That name moving to the upside. Right now, I'm showing the Dow up about 1,200 points. I got the NASDAQ up about 145 points. I got the S&P 500 up about 110 points. The VIX trading right around 2360. So that's pretty interesting to see that press to the downside there. So let's hit a little bit of unusual option activity. You can feel it right now, can't you? It's in the air, man. I mean, this excitement, you cannot get more excited. And we talked about this 2 weeks ago. The opportunity wasn't less last week, really was 2 weeks ago, because the markets were getting hit to the downside. We all talked about that. Oh, this significant hit. It's the worst since March. Creating opportunity for quality names that could be bought, and using that implied volatility where we closed up above 40 to sell premium against those positions, something we call a buy right, the most common option positioning that anybody does out there. And it's just an unbelievable strategy. And I'll tell you what, right now that is working really, really well, because we had that great lead last week. We had a really nice run already today. As I mentioned, we're up about a little under 1,200 right now. So unusual option activity. We always love just hitting as much as we can, but I'm just going to give you one. I'm not on the halftime today. Tomorrow, I got a double animal style. What do I mean by that? I got the noon show and I got the 5 o'clock show tomorrow, doubling up. So doing a little bit of both. Got a really exciting thing going on Wednesday. We're going to talk about that as well, because I got to tell you, I am working with a charity that's just unbelievable, and I can't wait to tell you about that. This one's not my wife's charity, which is Twin Cities Lyme Foundation. By the way, thank you to all the people over the weekend. They saw the hat, the latest knit hat that I had out there, and that was when it was a little bit cooler still, but so many people reached out to me and said, hey, Pete, where do I get that hat? How do I get that hat? I said, go to the Minnesotan, theminnesotan.com. That place is the absolute greatest. They take care of people. They get it, and they ship it out right away. And some of the proceeds for any of the stuff that's in my line, which is the Giddy Up and the Bull and all that stuff, the Take, which we're doing right now, all of that, if you buy some of that, we get a little bit of a chunk from that each and every time that something is sold. It's phenomenal. Those guys are the absolute best. Thanks a lot, Corey. You guys do an absolutely amazing job over there. And the customer service, everybody's talking about that. That's really exciting as well. So, Carnival Cruise Lines, we talked about it already. It's already jumped pretty significantly. Can it jump more? Absolutely. If these are able to really start to take off to the upside at some point in time in the not too distant future, then the depressed side of things starts to really react. So CCL, stock trading about 19 and a quarter. I've got a buyer of 5,400 this week's 20 strike calls. So they're just out of the money. Stock's trading 19 and a quarter. These are the 20 strike calls. This is very, very short term. These do expire Friday. They were going for 80 cents up to $1.30, so let's call it $1. These options are going for about $1. So that's the risk reward right there. That's what we were seeing. 5,400 of those, pretty active, pretty amazing. And we are seeing so many different things. I'm getting distracted because I keep seeing flashes of the latest and greatest, newest unusual option activity that's hitting. Folks, I got to tell you, we got the best people in the industry. Anybody who ever watches any of our stuff, whether it's the cocktail hour or Monday, join us for the round table today, Monday. It's always a great time. It's always exciting. Just after the market close, we get an opportunity to sit down, and we have some of the greatest folks on Wall Street each and every week dropping in. We've had everybody. We've had Mr. Wonderful stop in. We've had Tony Dwyer stop in. We've had so many great people. Gene Munster, not too terribly long ago, who gave us a really nice blueprint about what was going to be happening in the tech space, as well as other areas that people don't always realize that he is such a professional in. It's not only tech, but it's fintech. But he also, how about his call on Zillow? Now, this guy went out on a limb maybe 4 or 5 months ago talking about Zillow, came back and still was very positive. And take a look at what that stock did just this past week. An absolutely incredible run to the upside. Those are the kinds of people that are giving you quality, great information, and they come and join us for our roundtable every single Monday. So look forward to that. Folks, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. It's going to be a really, really busy day. I got the Take early on, got the noon show, got the 5 o'clock show. Then it might be time for maybe pizza and a beer. I don't know, something like that. God, I'm excited today. Guys, have a great day of trading. The market rebellion, it certainly has begun. Giddy up.